A lock in a sock is devastating. Those locks are nothing to play with. I'd rather get stabbed than hit with a lock in the sock. He took a couple of them out.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
You saw the title, what happens to snitches in prison. These days, not as much as what used to happen. You know, sometimes they just let it pass. Somebody tells on somebody these days in prison, the person just doesn't do nothing about it. I don't know why. That's not to say that some don't, because many of them will. But there's a lot of them that won't do anything about it. It makes you look weak, in my opinion. But it used to be back in the day, when I first got to prison, they dealt with it and they dealt with it hard. And the story I'm going to tell is about this young guy got his canteen robbed. I think it was after he got back in his cell, they came in and took his stuff. Well, he went and told. Now, that's a no-no. So he had all these people, I think it was a couple of them that robbed him, but he had like, those two people had many friends. There's a lot of them who were going to jump him over this. During lunchtime, everybody knew he told. He went around to each table asking them if he'd help him, if they would help him, because he's about to get jumped. And there was, no one would offer to help. We ain't sticking our nose into it, you know. You told, dude. Why would we risk ourselves helping you, being known as siding with a snitch, being jumped, and all this? Why would we do that? He had a lock in a sock. Had a couple socks like bounded up. I think the better thing to do, they used to issue these belts back then. These like woven cloth belt. I think those would have worked better than a lock in a sock. But that's what he had. He had a bunch of those, you know, a couple, 2 or 3 socks, had it in there, had it tied tight. And sure enough, they jumped him. A whole bunch of them. But I want to tell you something. A lock in a sock is devastating. Those locks are nothing to play with. I'd rather get stabbed than hit with a lock in the sock. He took a couple of them out. That's no joke. But there's just too many of them. They got him, you know, and beat him down, man. Stomped him, beat him, till he had to be carried out there on a stretcher. I've seen it happen to a few people back there. One thing I never saw back there, chomos, you know. They wasn't on your yard. I do remember Robert Bordello. He passed of a heart attack. Guards just let it happen. But anyway, we're talking about snitches. Now later on, as I got transferred, when I got transferred to Farmington, it seemed like there was more snitches. There's more crybabies. There's a lot of chomos on one side down there, and the one side was all chomos. I'm not saying everybody down there was crybabies. There was some stand-up people down there, because they brought a bunch of us from the walls down there, and they were stand-up people, solid people, and from Mobley, you know. There was a lot of them. That was the first prison they was in. They was crying about everything. Soft-ass dudes. And when I say soft-ass dudes, I mean most of them was white. It's just a fact. I hate to say it, but it's true. And they was dealt with. The snitches were dealt with, you know. They still being dealt with. Maybe not as hard, but they still being dealt with. But as time passed, last few years at South Central Correctional Center, I know one guy that snitched on the guy. He knew he snitched on him. Everybody knew he snitched on him. I mean, he walked right up to the cops and said this, right in front of God and everybody. And everybody went to the dude and said, man, this dude just told on you. We saw him. We heard him. He did nothing about it. I don't understand that, man. Again, it was a white dude. If it had been a black dude or a solid white dude, they would have went after that snitch. It's just the way it is. But a lot of people, not everybody, I don't want people in the comments saying, hey man, not everybody. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. I'm just saying that towards the end of my bid, there was a lot of people in prison that were scared, that would tell, or they wouldn't do nothing about it if somebody told on them. Telling me we're fighting. I may not take the blade to you, but we're fighting. It's as simple as that. Actually, for me, it'd have to be really serious for me to take the blade to you. I mean, like my livelihood, my manhood, something like that, you know, along those lines. But snitching, we're at least fighting. But I'm just letting you guys know how it's changed. And that was 7 years ago when I got out. I don't know how it is now. And partner of mine in there says it's gotten worse. He didn't mention snitches and stuff, but he just mentioned that the violence has gotten worse. Maybe they're cleaning out some of those people. I don't know. But a lot of it has to do with lack of staff and stuff being brought into the prison. New caliber people being brought in. He said you have to, if you're young and white, you're going to have to fight there, you know. If you're already established, probably not so much. But if you're new there, he goes, you're definitely going to have to fight. But I asked him one time about the snitches. He goes, well, you know, that's always been like that, Harv. I said, not so much at the walls. He goes, I know, but he said, ever since we left the walls, went to Farmington and all these other places, he goes, that's the norm. There's always going to be some. So he didn't tell me whether there's more of them or less of them or what. He just said, they're there, you know. Anyway, I thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.
We are dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. Search but you stay lost. We are